I'll bank in Singapore, invest in Cambodia, live in Malaysia.
Next question is from John. How do you deal with debit cards when living abroad? If you lose it, how do you retrieve it? People talk about offshore bank accounts, but there's a lot of risk when you lose a debit card or your card simply expires. If you have to fly to another country to retrieve a new card, it will be a difficult option.
Yeah. Well, number one, I have a lot of different bank accounts because I like diversification, because I geek out on this stuff. And if you have a certain amount of money, you might not want to put all your money in one bank. We recently had someone who came to us. He's got over $1 million in one bank in Southeast Asia. And I was a little surprised by that. I said, let's get some diversification going on, not because the bank is terrible, but it just seems like you're a bit overweight in that area. Number one, not every bank account requires a debit card. I have bank accounts where I just don't need a debit card because, for example, I have a home there and I just pay bills locally. And, I can move money around within the country, and that's all I need. Like in Malaysia, I have a term deposit that facilitates a residence program. And so I can't touch that money. What do I need a debit card for? So I've got money that's sitting there, but I can't access it. So I think what I would try and do is put together different banks where you can easily move money between them and have a smaller number of banks, maybe even as few as 2, where you had actual debit cards and that's where the money got spent from. I do have a lot of debit cards for my banks. I just don't use most of them. I think having the option is good. The point about cards expiring is interesting. My solution for that would be, number one, I would have banks in place where I'm nearby. So I talked about my global citizen sandwich where I'll bank in Singapore, invest in Cambodia, live in Malaysia. When I'm in Malaysia every year, as a matter of course, I'll go to Cambodia once or twice. I'll go to Singapore once or twice, whether it's for shopping, checking in investments, whatever. And so if I'm there and I had bank accounts there, I could just facilitate the expiring card. This is why I think a lot of these far-flung offshore banks that have been promoted in years past are no longer that interesting, because when are you just going to be swinging into St. Kitts and Nevis? Probably not that likely unless you're living in the Caribbean. So what I would try and do is remove the kind of traditional offshore banking and bank in places that are nearby other places where you're going to be. Again, if I'm in Colombia for part of the year, maybe I'm banking in Panama. So the other suggestion I would give is if you have priority banking relationships, a lot of times you can have bankers, if you lose your card, you could just email your banker or call your banker, and they can, expedite the card, they can FedEx it out to you. Same thing with expiring cards. So, what I would do is if I'm just starting out, rather than accumulating lots of different bank accounts where I would have lots of different things to maintain, I would try and have 1 or 2 main relationships, and I would try and pile up enough cash in those accounts to where I can reach, that priority banking status. In a country like, Georgia, it could be as little as $20,000 to where they'd be able to personally help you in a way that a call center wouldn't. And so that's what I would do. And then, if I was running a cash flow business and I wanted to pile up liquidity in a bank, I would just expand from there once I had more money to have good relationships with other banks as well.
Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson from Nomad Capitalist. I wrote this book, which you can find on Amazon, to distill a lot of the stuff we talk about in these videos and a lot of the stuff I've learned over the last decade plus traveling all around the world, teaching you about how to legally reduce your taxes, build your personal freedom, and create wealth faster. Definitely get a copy of this book if you want to learn more. Now, if you want to watch more videos, make sure you subscribe to our channel and make sure you click the notifications bell so you never miss one of our new videos with more tips on how to go where you're treated best. And if you're already a 6- or 7-figure entrepreneur and you'd like to put these strategies in place for yourself, go to nomadcapitalist.com and learn about how I can help you.